Welcome back to A Family Food Supply. I have our mega monthly grocery haul for you today. This includes our Costco haul, our Azure standard haul, and a natural grocers haul all in one. We normally spread this out a little bit throughout the month, but we decided to do it all at once so that I don't have to worry about grocery shopping at all. We normally do monthly grocery shopping, but when you spread it out across different stores and it ends up falling throughout the month, it doesn't really feel like monthly grocery shopping. So we got it all at once. We're gonna get it all done, and then we've got a nice 4 weeks to not worry about it. Okay, so starting with Costco, we get Charmin toilet paper. You know what you use this for. And yes, we go through about 2 packs per month. We also have Q-tips. A lot of people say don't use Q-tips in your ears. We do. I don't think that we put them in too far. I don't know. But we also have some kettle chips. They are the Himalayan salt. I love how many you get in this giant bag for the price. I think they're like $6. They might even be $7 now. They used to be $5. We also have a pack of paper. We use this for most of the homeschool printing. I've got a nice decent stock of it, but I like to add it on one here and there. And when it goes on sale, I get a whole bunch more. We also have tinfoil. Not a huge fan of tinfoil. I like to stay away from aluminum. So what we will normally do whenever the tinfoil is going to be in close contact with the food, we will line something with parchment paper first and then do tinfoil on top of it. At least that's what they're supposed to do. Some people don't like to listen. We also have trash bags. Again, I think that it's one of those things that you know what they're for. We're gonna jump over here. We have some dog food and cat food. We have some of these hardwood pellets by Kirkland brand. If you're buying Traeger pellets, these work just as well. And they're, I don't know how much cheaper, but they're way cheaper. Last time I did the math. We also have pistachios. When I got pregnant, I was having a hard time. Falling asleep was fine, but I would wake up in the middle of the night and not be able to go back to sleep. So I did some research and found some natural sources of melatonin. Pistachios are one of them. Pistachios are one of them. If you need melatonin, you can eat these anytime throughout the day. Just snack on them. I get a small bowl, eat them up. They're delicious. I've got some other things way down at the other end of the table that also add melatonin into your diet that we'll get to soon. Next, we have the Milton's crackers. We normally don't do a lot of packaged snack foods, but these are really delicious when we're eating grains and gluten and all of that stuff. These are mainly for Thanksgiving. That's actually one thing. This haul does not include our Thanksgiving food. Turkeys are ordered. A few other things I've got on our list to get right before Thanksgiving, but I just wanted to grab these because honestly I was kind of thinking that they looked really good and I might have to have some for a snack before Thanksgiving. We also have this peanut butter powder. I have been loving the chocolate peanut butter smoothie that Harbor has been making me. It's also in our October recipe pack and it's so delicious, but I just wanted to try it with some of this because it does have some additional protein in it, and I'm trying to get that 100 grams of protein a day with now being in my 2nd trimester of pregnancy. Next, we have 2 packs of the vanilla beans from Costco. We just did some vanilla extract with the vanilla beans that we got from Azure. I saw that these were a decent amount cheaper. I believe that this 10 beans was about $20. So I think it was $40 for the 2. And we got 4 ounces from Azure, and that resulted in about 20 beans. So, and I believe that that was 60 some dollars. So these are about 20–30% cheaper. The only thing I don't know is how much these actually weigh. So we're gonna have to open them up, weigh them, and see how this compares to the 4 ounces we got from Azure. So our goal is to eventually make more and more of our own vanilla extract. And so I just have to kind of do some testing. Currently experimenting with how many beans per quart of vodka we need. And we're gonna do some experimenting with the beans themselves just to see what makes the most sense for our family. Okay, so next we have a bag of sweet potatoes. I had actually ordered, now at Azure, the oranger color potatoes are called yams. The sweet potatoes have more of a yellow color to them. The yams from Azure were out of stock. We got our sweet potatoes, but not the yams. I wanted to do some comparing on a couple different recipes. So we're gonna use these specifically to make some Parmesan smashed sweet potatoes that are going to go with the apple spiced chicken that we're gonna be making in our how we used it video coming up. You're gonna wanna see that. It's one of our used to be favorite meals. It's kind of overdone a little bit in our house, but I'm excited to bring it back this fall. All right, next we have 3 10-pound bags of onions. Now, this is not something that we normally buy from Costco. I was actually really bummed. We normally get a 40-pound box from Azure, but they were out of stock. So, and unfortunately, I didn't get one last month when I wanted to because I felt like we were overflowing with onions, and apparently I just need to get the onions. So if you're questioning whether or not you should put that thing in your cart, just get the onions, okay? Because we ran out and now we're buying Costco onions. We try to, as a general rule, keep as much on hand as possible. Even when it comes to the produce and stuff, we like to keep a month or 2 on hand as long as it will last, so that when things are out of stock, it does not impact us at all. The reason why onions are so important is we have a lot of dishes that include onions in this month that we're going to be sharing with you in our What We Eat videos. Some of the things being a caramelized onion grilled cheese sandwich, Hungarian kebabs, chicken noodle soup, beef stew, butternut breakfast tash, and an extremely delicious homemade pasta sauce. Next up from Costco is these super not healthy corn tortillas, but I have not found a better alternative that we can use to make our breakfast taquitos. So as a general rule, we try and be really picky with what we eat. We generally will buy the organic onions from Azure. We generally will buy organic corn products. But when it is very minimal with what we consume, I try and just let it go and be okay with it. And one of these days, we are gonna make our own. We just have to get there. Next, we have a giant bottle of Tabasco sauce. This is something that gets used as a condiment regularly in our house. Something that we probably could make at some point in time, but again, it's one of those things where I'm not there yet. One of the things I'm most excited about this month that we're eating is a homemade Caesar salad that has it's not a creamy dressing. It's more of like an oily, garlicky, cheesy, delicious, amazing, real Caesar dressing that gets lots of Tabasco put into it, and it's delicious. So watch that one. Next, we have a giant tub of whipping cream. With Thanksgiving coming, there's going to be lots of potato type dishes and some of the pumpkin creamer that we showed you last month. This month specifically, we're going to be making a caramel sauce that is just cream and maple syrup, and it's delicious. So we normally use our raw milk share and we just skim the cream off the top, but when we need extra cream, this is a great deal from Costco. So for a while there, we were making our own peanut butter with dry roasted peanuts. That's something that's kind of fallen by the wayside for the last few months. Probably my fault. So we had to do a little bit of stocking up on our Kirkland brand peanut butter. This is a great alternative if you're not making your own. This has been getting used for, honestly, one of the most common snacks in our home is go grab a tablespoon of peanut butter, and somebody goes and they take a scoop of peanut butter and they eat it.
Or two or three.
Or 2 or 3. Ideally not double dipping.
Oh.
So we're also using this for my chocolate peanut butter smoothie that I mentioned earlier. All right, ready?
So, pick up from
the grocery haul that lasted days and days and days.
Oh boy.
Okay, so we're also using this to make some no-bake cookies as well as a pumpkin peanut butter ball that is amazing. Kevin also has this kind of sort of disgusting, but yet he thinks is delicious smoothie that we are going to be sharing with you just in case you think it's delicious as well. Way to sell that one, huh?
Yeah, nice.
Okay, so we also have 4 bottles of these cocoa aminos. This is the best coconut aminos that we have ever had between all the different brands that are out there. Unfortunately, Costco does not carry it all the time. So when they do, we buy it in massive quantities. This month, there's not a ton specifically that we're gonna use it for, except for the fact that it kind of goes into everything. Like when we roast chicken or, I don't know, you don't put it in salad dressings, do you? I'm sure there's some that it goes into.
Like an Asian salad, yeah.
But specifically, we have a cabbage and leek side that we're going to be sharing with you that this goes into. So go get some so that you can make it. Speaking of that cabbage and leek side, it also includes bacon, along with the butternut breakfast hash that we're making. As a general rule, we will also usually have bacon as a side once or twice a week, at which point we will go through one of these. Now, we do also get a whole hog that we have in our freezer. The last hog that we got, the bacon was amazing, and we still have a couple packs left. But unfortunately, this past hog that we just got, the processor did not follow the cut sheet as well as I had hoped. And we got no fat, and we got no bacon, and I refuse to use that processor again for our hogs. So we're stocking up on Costco bacon again. All right, so next we have tomato paste, and we also down here have some tomato sauce. Now, what I really wanted was the diced tomatoes because I need a lot of them. They were out of stock. So I'm going to be stalking the Costco website here for the next couple days to see when they get diced tomatoes back. So the tomato paste specifically is going to be used for a few things, but most importantly, we're going to be making a homemade tomato soup that's going to include some of that. And then the tomato sauce is going to be put into our homemade pasta sauce, along with some tomato paste. All right, so next we have garlic. This is one of those things that I have a hard time buying from Azure. My rule of thumb is that if something is organic, I'm willing to pay up to and close to double the price. But when it's more than that, I have a really hard time. And I'm pretty sure that the garlic from Azure happens to be more than double what I can get it at Costco. For now, we sometimes get it from Azure and sometimes get it from Costco. This right here is actually going to be the 3rd bag in the house because I apparently have been really liking garlic. I realized I was going through the list of everything that we're gonna be making in the next month and listing out everything that needed garlic, and I realized that almost everything in it has garlic. So apparently that is my craving of the month, of the week. I have no idea. But one of the most delicious things that we are going to share with you is a homemade French bread with a homemade garlic butter spread that goes on it, and it is, I dream about it, okay? It's like the best thing on earth right now. So we need garlic for that.
You can find somebody else to take your video.
We're also going to be using this to make the Hungarian kebabs that we're gonna have, as well as a cranberry rosemary chicken noodle soup, apple spice pecan chicken, cabbage and leeks, eggplant parmesan, beef stew, pasta sauce, and then we're gonna use lots of it for that Caesar salad dressing. We also have a bag of avocados here. For a while there, the avocados from Costco were not great, but Kevin let me start buying them again, and they seem to be ripening up well. We will use these for guacamole with any of our Mexican dishes, or to just cut up and slice on a salad. All right, so technically we have 4 bags of these, but we had to bust into them last night for a breakfast that I was making. We're gonna be doing a cranberry baked oatmeal as well as the cranberry rosemary chicken. And this is also one of those things that I've got some other ideas for around Thanksgiving, and I wanted to make sure that we got our hands on enough cranberries because sometimes they sell out. It took me a little while longer to get them. I was kind of waiting for the fresh cranberries to come around, and they literally came up, at least at our Costco, a few days before I placed the order. Next, we have these are supposed to be 2-pound boxes. This is 1.75. I'm disappointed. I feel cheated. But I do kind of like the new economic box of ginger as opposed to the plastic clamshell. That's kind of neat. The ginger from Costco always looks great. We normally get our ginger from Azure, but again, Grayson wants me to get like the 60, maybe it's 40, 60 pound, I don't know, giant thing of ginger. But I told him that he had to manage like the 4 pounds that I brought in well first before I got all of it, because he wants to freeze it. We use it to make ginger beer, but we'll also use this to make the cabbage and leek dish that I've been talking about. Okay, next we have a bag of clementines that I'm not gonna pick up because somebody poked a hole in them and they'll spill all over the place. So they're probably about half gone right now as it is because they keep getting handed out to kids. We have a couple dishes that require some orange peel, orange juice, and whatnot. Normally I would use just regular oranges, but our kids have not had clementines in months probably. So I decided that this would be a nice treat for them. Again, sometimes Costco has organic clementines. Usually, so Azure has mandarins or clementines. Sometimes they're amazing, sometimes they're not. So I love to go that route, and when they're amazing, it's wonderful. But for now, I didn't want to deal with a lot of it, so I just got a small bag of these. And then we have 2 bags of green beans. Now, usually the green beans from Costco are in really good shape. These, they look okay. They're going to have to get used quickly. So we do a balsamic vinaigrette, roasted like on a skillet or sauteed green bean dish that is absolutely amazing. But it also includes coconut aminos. We also have a bag of Brussels. For a while there, we were going through like 2 of these bags a week and loving them. And I think it's one of those things that we got sick of because we ate them way too often. So these are actually gonna get shredded up and used for the butternut breakfast hash. Now, we did just have it a few days ago and we didn't have any Brussels sprouts on hand. Kevin says he likes it better without the Brussels sprouts. I think I miss the Brussels sprouts, so we're gonna do kind of a comparison to see what we like best. All right, next we have celery. This has actually been used quite a bit. Usually this bag is really full. Harbor broke into it today. So we're gonna use this to make some chicken noodle soup, and it's going to get hidden inside of the tomato soup as well.
Okay, next we have bananas. The reason why Christy thinks that my delicious and nutritionally dense smoothie is gross is because it has banana in it. She absolutely hates banana. But since these are incredibly green, I took a gamble on it. If they go from green to black, we'll just mash them up and save them and use it for banana bread in the future. I'm kind of hoping that they're going to ripen, but
They look like they've ripened a little bit, maybe.
pretty
I don't
hard.
know. Let us know if there's a trick to actually let green bananas ripen, because sometimes they just turn black.
You put them in a bag with apples.
That sounds like too much work.
It doesn't.
One of the things that I love about bananas is how cheap they are for how much you get. Because this whole bunch is probably $1.50, maybe. And this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish smoothies for me. I actually no longer freeze them whole. I freeze them broken up.
We also have a couple pineapples. These are going to need to be used immediately. Like this feels like the top's gonna fall off. So not too impressed with the pineapples, but they're just gonna get dehydrated. The kids love to cut them up and dehydrate them. Not sure if you saw one of our previous videos where we did a comparison on mangoes, on if it's cheaper to buy and dehydrate your own mangoes, or buy dehydrated mangoes, or buy frozen mangoes and dehydrate them. One of these days we're gonna do pineapple as well. I don't think it's gonna be this month, but anyway, I'll link the mango video in the description so you can find out what's the best way to do it. We also have 2 small bags of Gala apples. This was the only type of apple that they had that was organic. I have to tell you, I am really bummed. I had ordered 120 pounds of apples again from Azure, and they were all out of stock. So I had to get some from here and some from Natural Grocers, and we're just gonna have to deal and use those to make the things we need them for, like our apple kuchen. We're gonna do a big apple pancake. We're gonna do that cranberry baked oatmeal that has apples in it, along with the breakfast hash and the apple spice pecan chicken. Next, we have a small pack of cherry grape tomatoes, small tomatoes. When we do not have tomatoes growing in our garden, we find it somewhat difficult to just consume tomatoes bought from the store, because we now know the difference. And so if we're going to do tomatoes at all, we'll usually do the small ones, just throw them in a salad. Next, we have strawberries and I'm so happy those didn't spill. That could have been a mess. Blackberries, blueberries, and I'm not even gonna try and do them all because I could have a disaster, and raspberries. Okay, so we used to get fresh berries every single week from Costco, and with the whole rising food prices, inflation, and all of that, it is one of the things that we have cut back on to help cushion the increase in our grocery budget. So now we just get them once a month and enjoy them rather quickly. We do get frozen berries that we use throughout the month elsewhere. But so over the next 4 or 5 days, we'll do 2 breakfasts that include mixed berries. So we'll do the blackberries, the raspberries, the strawberries, and then, no, I'm sorry, the blackberries, the raspberries, the blueberries, and then we'll do 2 breakfasts that have the strawberries. Okay, so this is the one cheese. It's a lie. We actually get 2 cheeses from Costco. We also get the goat cheese from Costco, which we do not have because we don't have anything planned to use it this month. But I know it's not technically a Parmesan. Is it? No, it's not. But, oh, Parmesan, right?
Yeah, that's
Parmesan. Okay, so their Parmesan cheese is delicious, and as far as I know, Azure does not have a Parmesan cheese. So we still get this from Costco. We love it, and it's in 3 of my favorite meals that we're going to be having this month. Number 1, the Caesar salad dressing. Number 2, the eggplant Parmesan, and number 3, the garlic bread spread that Did I mention that I dream about it? It's delicious.
Okay. She can't even talk right.
Oh, I can't get over.
Okay, lastly, can you like look at me first?
I was just gonna do that.
But
Yep.
Yep.
Hold on. Oh, my battery's gonna die.
can I do it quick or no?
Yeah, go quick.
Okay. Lastly, we have a small amount of frozen food. I have no fish this month. I realized when I made the menu, fish is not pleasing my palate these days. And so we're gonna do no fish for a month. And we've got some cherries that we'll use for flavoring water kefir. We have mixed berries, blueberries, and strawberries that get used for smoothies and sometimes some baked goods and whatnot. Then I normally can't stand frozen broccoli, but for December, we're going to be working on a broccoli cheddar soup. So I wanted to do some experimenting with that. Okay, so that's it for the Costco portion of our mega grocery haul. The Costco items came to $803.37. Now, I am really curious. Do you care what the total is for these grocery hauls? It seems to be something that everyone happens to include in their grocery hauls, and I personally don't care so much, but if it is something that you find interesting or informational or any of the above, let us know and we will continue to include the totals. Now, for a enormous haul like this, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go through and give you individual prices on everything. Next, we have 2 tubs of feta cheese. Now, we get it in a box that is sold 2 tubs as one item, which makes it cheaper. And when you get it, there's a big giant brick of feta. Like I can feel it on this corner here, this corner here, this corner here. So what we will do is take it, cut off a piece of it. We'll put it into a glass Snapware container, keep that in the main refrigerator in the kitchen, and then this will go back in the garage because this is a huge item to have in your kitchen refrigerator. We also don't worry about, once we get it into our use container in the kitchen, we don't worry about the brine. We've never had a problem with it drying out. And you do need to crumble it yourself, which I actually love because you can control the consistency of it. The main thing that we use the feta for is salads. There's a couple dishes that we do use it for, but nothing that we've got coming up this month. Okay, so it is November 4th, and the expiration date on this feta is 6/30/23. So you've got a good 8 months, 9 months that this will be good. So we don't worry about it going bad. Next, we have our cheese. We have 2 bricks of the cheddar cheese. Okay, so this makes a great snack to just slice and eat, but we are going to be making those caramelized onion grilled cheese sandwiches. I've got a little bit of Swiss down there at the end of the table that we're going to use, but I think the kids are going to be happier with the cheddar, so we'll grate this up and throw it on those sandwiches. So the expiration date on the white cheddar is 7/30/23. This is something that will freeze well if you want it to, but I mean, it's gonna last for 9 months from when you get it. I'm not at all concerned about keeping this in the fridge. We also have 2 bricks of jalapeno jack cheese. My favorite things to have this on is twice baked potatoes. We shared that recipe with you last month. I will pop that video in the description box. We also throw this on nachos as well as just cutting it up into pieces and snacking on it. The jalapeno jack cheese also has an expiration date that is about 8 months out. 6/24/23. So again, we just keep it in the fridge. Next, we have not 1, but 2 15-pound boxes of butter. This one, I can't tell you how excited I was because I think it went up like $15 in price. Speaking of which, if you are not checking the prices on your groceries from Azure before your order finalizes, you should be checking out months in advance. I'll put that video in the description. But there's a process that you need to go through right before your order finalizes. I'm gonna walk you through that right now because it's super important. Okay, we're gonna take a second to sneak in a Azure quick tip for you here. We wanna talk about the one thing that you wanna do before your cart finalizes. Every about day of or day before, wherever it works into your schedule, a couple days before, you wanna go into your cart and double check all of the prices of the items that are in there. Now for us personally, we fill our cart up with quite a bit. I will not be spending $2,500 on our groceries. I will try and cut this about in half, but I add items to this order starting 3 months prior. Number one, I get the sale prices on items. Number two, I get the lower prices on anything that has gone up in price. When I am going through to narrow down the items that we are going to buy, I want to take into account anything that has grown in price drastically. Now, that's one of the reasons why I look at the price changes. But number two is because there are oftentimes items that will drop in price. So I want to show you how I've learned to do this fairly quickly. What you do is, if you're on the Azure standard site, you click on if you click on your order, it's going to bring it up over here. And if you click this, it's going to bring it up to the side, or bring it up in this right here, which I like it on the screen, not just in a pop-up window. So you can click view order and it'll bring it up right here. So what I will do, I'm going to start down here at the bottom as opposed to the top actually, is I will, on my PC, I'm going to hit the control button and I'm going to click on this and click on this and click on this, click on that. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to click on each individual item. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm going to get a reasonable number of items up on my screen. So I'm going to stop there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out and make this a little bit smaller. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so that I can go through and compare all of my prices. Now, over here on the left, you're going to see the price that's in my cart. And over here on the right, you're going to see the price that this is currently priced at. So I see $47.88, $47.88. There's no change, so I close that window. This one, $9.67, $9.67. I close the window. Now look at this one. You want to look at, when you've got more than one in your cart, you want to look at the price down here. So it's $39.97. Look at this. It's gone up to $56.50. I have 2 of these in my cart. I'm going to make sure that I keep those in my cart. You do not want to change the number. If you add to it, it will delete your order for that item and it will give you the $56.50 price. So I'm not going to change the amount. And then this window I will leave open so that I can take a good look at everything in one spot that has changed price. So the laundry detergent has gone from $18.92 to $21. Now, and I'm going to notice more price changes down here at the bottom of my cart because the bottom of my cart are the items that I added months and months ago. Whereas the things at the top of my cart I've added recently, and so there's less likely a chance of a price change. So again, this is one of those things, the rice and the rice cakes, they were on sale previously. So again, this is why all of these are going to have a price difference. So this was $19.48, now it's $22. And with the brown rice, we're looking at $31 versus $50. That is insane. Wow. If I look at my sour cream, we went from $21.33 up to $23.80. And if I look at my cheese, we go from $73.64, no change. So again, I'm going to delete that window. The butter, look at this. The butter went from $81.58 up to $92. And praise Jesus, I just put 2 in my cart a few months ago, and so we get 2 boxes of butter at $11 less for each box. So I've actually done this for everything that is in my cart, so I'm going to not walk you through the entire process. I'm going to bring this up. Okay, so right here I have the 1, 2, 3, 8, 9. I have the 9 items that have increased in price since I added them to my cart. And then up here, I have the 7 items that have decreased in price since I've added them to my cart. So this first one, I've got grapes. It has gone from $5.91 to $6.95. Saved $1, not a really big deal. The grapefruit, on the other hand, if I come down in here in my cart, find the grapefruit, was $22.45 when I added it, and it's gone up to $33.45. So I am so thankful that I had it in my cart, and I've got it in my next 2 months after this at that $22.45 price. Limes have also gone up slightly from $31.01 up to $33.77. Butter has gone up that $81.58 to $92.01. We've got sour cream has gone up from $21.33 up to $23.80. And then the brown rice has gone up from $31.29 up to $50.07. That is $18.78 per bag of brown rice. I've got the rice cakes that have gone from $19.48 up to $22.11. I've got laundry detergent that's gone from $18.92 up to $21.02. Now, a lot of these are lower in my cart because they were on sale when I added them. Still, this jump right here also for the white rice from $39.97 up to $56.50. So not only did I get it on sale, but I got it right before a huge price jump. So when you look at all of those items and you account for the items that I have more than one of, I have saved $97.33 on this order by checking out early. But it also goes both ways. As long as you take the time to double check your order and make sure that you are getting the lowest price, you can save even more money. So by doing this process that we just went through, I can tell you that we also have this almond extract that when I put it in my cart, it was $62.23 and it has dropped down to $50.45. It's like a $12 price decrease because it's on sale now. What I am going to do whenever there is a price decrease, all that you do is you come in here and you remove it. You say, yes, I want to delete it. And then you add it back to your order. And then when I check out, when I look at my new cart, it'll have that $50.45 price instead of the $62.23 that's over here. So for the next item, we have white beans. Now, they're not in stock right now, but I do believe that they will be in stock by the point in time that my order comes through. These were $61.71 when I added them to my cart. They are now $42. So I'm going to delete that item and I'm going to add them back. If you want to add things to your cart that are out of stock, you come down here, say still want to add it. If you add more than one, you have to do it twice. So for the next item, we've got the red bell peppers. These were $76 and they've been $76 for a really long time. They have dropped down to $52. So I'm going to click on this remove. I'm going to delete it. Then I'm going to add it to my order. So now I've got it in my cart for the $52.75 instead of the $76 that's over here. Next item, we have our red onions. I put them in my cart at $65.90. They're now $56.90. So we're going to delete and add back. We also have russet potatoes that were $62.25 when I added them to the cart. They are now $56.25. So I'm going to delete Add to order. I believe somebody in one of our comments mentioned that the 50-pound bag was the same price as the 10 5-pound bags. I don't know if that was a temporary thing. Every time that I have checked, the 50-pound bag has been about just under $10 more than 10 5-pound bags. So I always do the 10 5-pound bags instead of the full 50-pound bag because it's always been cheaper. I'm going to look at this one. The Portlandia Worcestershire sauce is on sale. It was $13.61. Again, not a huge difference, but dollars add up quickly. So I'm going to add that to order. And then last but not least, we have the rolled oats, which are $67.98. And it looks like this is probably not going to be in stock, but just in case, I am going to remove that and add to order. Again, I'm going to come down here and say add it anyway. Now, the other thing that you always want to make sure that you do here, if any of these items are items that you purchase on a regular basis, I am going to guess that they are going to be inside of your other checkouts, your other carts. So I'm going to click on my next cart. Notice that I don't have a lot of stuff in here at all. But I'm going to want to make sure that I go through and I add each of these items that are lower in cost to my cart for the next order and then the next order. So for example, this flavor, I think I added this when it was on sale. So yeah, we're all good there. And again, I've got it on sale on this one. So I'll go through and add all of this stuff. What I'll do is I'll come to this order and I'll say edit order. And then I will refresh here. It should take me to my other cart. And I'm going to go back over here. Okay, so I mentioned that I saved $97 just by checking out early. By double checking my cart before it finalizes, I saved another $111 just because of price drops that have happened in the last few months. So $200 just by doing a little bit of work on my Azure cart, checking out early, double checking prices before my order finalizes. Totally worth it. Start that habit today. So, as I said, we got a great deal on this butter, and I was really happy that I happened to have 2 in my cart. Now, let me also share how many different things we're going to use it for in this upcoming month, because I wouldn't be surprised if we actually end up going through both the boxes. We're going to use it for that garlic bread spread. We're going to be making some biscuits and gravy. We're doing refried beans. We've got some cookies that it's going to go in. And we'll be perfectly honest and say it goes in a lot of things. We use butter for almost everything. Trying to lean more towards the lard for some of this stuff, but butter is still a go-to favorite. One of our favorite items from Azure, and I hear all the time about people who try out Azure, they get the sour cream and they fall in love. If you're gonna do Azure for any reason, you should do it for this. So we use sour cream as a topping for a lot of Mexican dishes. This one specifically, we are going to be using it for the Hungarian kebabs as well as the apple kuchen. And I'm sure we have a couple twice baked potatoes in there as well, which it also gets thrown into. Now, the sour cream is something that normally expires about a month after we get it. 12/15/22. So we've got a little bit over a month that this is going to last from when we get it. Now, the thing about the sour cream is that we have used this how many months past its expiration date?
Easily 2.
Easily 2 months past its expiration date, and it is still perfectly edible. Yes. Next, we have cream cheese. We've been so happy with this cream cheese that we've usually been getting 1, but we got 2 and 3 because you get a discount if you get 3. as with a lot of the items at Azure. So we use this for those choice baked potatoes, which is why we probably went through so much of it last month. And this month specifically, we're going to be using it for a cream cheese filled pumpkin bread, as well as an amazing take on the cheeseburger salad that includes cream cheese. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is though. For the cream cheese, this expiration date is 1/13/23. Again, we're not getting massive quantities of it. I think this will last us maybe a month and a half. Even if we were only going through one per month, we would not need to freeze this. Now, I've heard from some of you viewers that freezing the cream cheese works perfectly well and that it is fine to defrost and use. We have not done that yet. And again, I don't know if we're gonna need to. So eventually I'm gonna give it a try because I know people are wondering if it works really or not. I'm kind of hesitant, and because I'm really not worried about an expiration date that is November, December, January, just over 2 months out, 2.5 months out, I'm not worried about it not getting used. Okay, in the very back, because did I mention we had to bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 extra tables to hold this haul? Oh, and it didn't even all fit. We've got carrots up on the bookshelf. So, in the back row, we have 2 50-pound bags of potatoes, yet what they technically are is 10 5-pound bags of potatoes. I've talked about this, I feel like every single haul. The 10 5-pound bags of potatoes are cheaper than a single 50-pound bag of potato for some reason. Normally we get one of those a month. This month specifically, we're going to be pressure canning some potatoes, and well, with Thanksgiving, we're going to be using a lot more potatoes than normal. We're also going to be using the potatoes for beef stew and breakfast burritos. Now right here we have a nice 40-pound box of red onions. Unfortunately, it's 40-pound box of yellow onion counterpart did not show up. I'm so bummed. So we use the red onions for salads and guacamole, for fajitas. Ready? Next we have peppers. We have a 40-pound box of the red peppers, and we have 2 bags of 2 pounds of green peppers. Usually it's about 4. Actually, these usually come in a clamshell, and I kind of like the bag as opposed to the clamshell. It's much less packaging. We normally get this, I think it's 25 pounds. Anyway, we will use these for the Hungarian kebabs that we're making. We will use them for a chicken stir fry that we're gonna make. They're gonna go in the homemade pasta sauce, and we will most likely freeze some and maybe dehydrate some. We were going to dehydrate some last time, and I don't think it happened for one reason or another. Again, back here in the back row, we have 3 25-pound bags of rice. We've got 1 brown rice, and we've got 2 white rice. Now, we technically, outside of one instance where we're having chicken stir fry, other than that, I don't think we're having any rice in the next month. But it is one of those items that we like to keep in stock on hand, and the price of rice jumped greatly. As I mentioned earlier, that was one of those items that I could not let go from my cart because of how much the price had gone up. Number 1, there was a price increase, and number 2, it was on sale when I had added it to my cart. Okay, next to the rice, we have our 30 dozen eggs, which we've already broke into. The 30 dozen has barely been cutting it for the 4 weeks, and we made it. We made it this month without buying extra eggs, but we did need to. What?
You got 2 dozen.
Oh, we do?
No. You bought 2 dozen from the grocery store.
Oh.
So you liar.
I lied. I forgot. I bought them like a few weeks ago. because I knew that we weren't going to have enough. Okay.
We could go through 40 dozen, but I don't want to go through 40 dozen eggs.
Anyway, as you can see, they got busted into right away. I think one of those cartons actually has a few eggs missing from it as well.
Yeah, we've already gone through a dozen and a half.
So, some of the special items we are going to be using the eggs for this month are eggplant parmesan, breakfast burritos. We're going to mix up some scrambled eggs. We're going to make that big apple pancake. We've got the Hungarian kebabs, and we're making homemade egg noodles. Ooh. One of the things I talk about often is that each month I grab a book from Azure with our order, and it's really helped our natural book library grow. So this month we got this master recipes from the Herbal Apothecary, and it is 375 tinctures, salves, teas, capsules, oils, and washes for the whole body health and wellness. So I'm excited to check this out. There's a really nice variety of stuff in here. We also have 12 packs of tortillas. I believe each of these bags of tortillas has 8 inside. These are technically the large tortillas. They have 3 different sizes at Azure. They have 12-inch, 10-inch, and 8-inch. These are the 10-inch. We really like the 10-inch for enchiladas. We prefer the 12-inch for burritos, as well as quesadillas. We take those 12-inch tortillas and fold them in half, and you've got a whole quesadilla in one tortilla, as opposed to the alternative of using either these or the 8-inch to make the quesadillas, and you've got to put 2 on top of each other. So we have been experimenting with Superb and 4-jar canning lids. Most of the canning that we do is in a wide mouth mason jar. So we've been practicing with these compared to the ball canning lids. We have a few items that we are putting in a small number of wide mouth jars, and I realized that we needed some more wide mouth lids, so I decided that we would continue with the experimenting. At first, I wasn't really impressed with these. We did a batch of, I think it was black beans, and I think half of our black beans did not seal with these. The second batch that I did, that I supervised a little bit more, I think we had 100% success rate with the Superb lids. So we're gonna keep kind of playing around with them and see what we think. Right now, I'm gonna go with I'm undecided, because these, I love the fact of how sturdy they are. I mean, they are thick. So we'll see. I mentioned the chicken noodle soup that we're gonna make, and our plan is to do homemade egg noodles, but just in case, and to do a little bit comparing between the two, I got some just dried egg noodles to throw into that soup. I'm also going to be canning some chicken only soup, and so having these on hand will be great if we want to take that canned soup, throw it in a pot, not make the noodles, and just throw these in with it. Next, we have a 20-pound box of sweet potatoes. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're going to use the other sweet potatoes, which I technically believe are yams, and use those for the Parmesan smashed sweet potato side. I think maybe we're going to throw some of those in there too and kind of do a comparison. Okay, so this is a sweet potato from Azure, and this is a sweet potato from Costco. If we had gotten our yams from Costco, they would look like this. What we have found is that these are a lot more flavorful. I think they're sweeter than these. These are the way to go. The other reason, we used to go through a 40-pound box of the sweet potatoes per month. We were going through a lot of them. We were not getting russet potatoes. We were eating a little bit more clean. I think we got sick of them. So we stopped for a while, haven't had them, but I think now that with Thanksgiving and fall, we're going to hopefully consistently bring them back. Okay, so we also have 2 butternut squash. These are for the
VeggieTale reenaction.
Who is this? What's the butternut squash? Harbor. What's the butternut squash on VeggieTales?
Larry the cucumber.
Bob the
Bob the
tomato.
tomato.
I can see him.
I want to say it's a Jerry.
I think it is Jerry.
Jerry.
I think, good job. Jerry. It's definitely Jerry. This is a really skinny butternut squash.
That is a Jerry that has been eating sweet potatoes.
Instead of the russet potatoes.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to use these for that delicious breakfast hash that I mentioned. We also have one of our seasonal favorites is the delicata squash. Now, this is one that I remember last year we were buying in large box quantities, but it's been a while, and I'll admit I kind of was a little shy to get a large amount of them because I don't even remember what they taste like. I remember we loved them. And so we're going to pretty much just use these as a side for one of our dishes. Kevin cooks them up and they taste delicious. Do you remember what you do to them?
Yeah, I just cube them and fry them.
So he's just going to cube them and fry them. We also have 2 measly little heads of red cabbage. The only reason I say that is because normally we get a 40-pound box of cabbage, which I think I'm going to just do. We have plenty of sauerkraut in the refrigerator right now. I was really hoping to be able to take 2 months off from making sauerkraut, but I don't know if it's going to happen. My goal is to get to January without, and so that would actually be 3 months off. So we'll see, because that would be a nice break, but I kind of doubt it's going to happen. You'll notice we're going to talk about more cabbage because we did do an experiment with a spicy sauerkraut this past month and it's delicious. So we want more of that. So we're going to do a couple batches of that. We also have a bag of Ceylon cinnamon. This was brought up to me, something new. I've not heard this, but I was told that cinnamon can be bad if you are pregnant. There's a number of different reasons why you don't want to consume too much cinnamon, but specifically it is the cassia cinnamon that is a bigger problem as opposed to the Ceylon cinnamon. This is a lot more expensive, but well worth it. It has all of the nutritional benefits of cinnamon as an herb. Just look out for what kind of cinnamon that you're getting. We also noticed a little while back that Azure has this good type of cinnamon in the cinnamon sticks as well. We also have a pack of garlic powder. This is something that we do not have an excessive amount of. I wanted to make sure. It's one of those things you don't ever want to run out of because I don't want to be buying it in the little bottles or even in the bulk bags that natural grocers have. It's way more expensive than when you get it from Azure.
Oh, look what's on there.
Garlic bread. We also have a 5-pound box of frozen cranberries that someone slit the bag open with his knife when he was opening it up. Can you believe that? Those cranberries fall right out of there. So I ordered this because when I placed the order, there still were no fresh cranberries available in our area. I'm not at all concerned about having extra cranberries on hand because we do have a lot of cranberry dishes we're going to be making. Specifically, we're going to have that cranberry baked oatmeal as well as the cranberry rosemary chicken. Okay, we're going to go back here to the top. We have a 10-pound box of lemons. We're going to use that for the Caesar salad dressing as well as doing some juicing, like lots of juicing. And maybe try dehydrating some. We'll see. We also have grapefruit. These are awesome for breakfast. Now, I have a thought about the grapefruit, which I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody else about. But normally the grapefruit are a lot smaller. And I think that normally the grapefruit are a lot more flavorful. The last batch that we got was larger like this, and they just did not taste as flavorful as the other ones. Curious, have you had an experience with the grapefruit changing in flavor? Can't ask Kevin because he doesn't eat them. Okay, and then we have limes. with the limes, we'll use that in our guacamole, in our Mexican slaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Mexican slaw. And in the drink that the kids usually sell at their lemonade stand, which they have slowed down and are not really doing right now because people don't love lemonade when it's like 32 degrees outside. Those are mostly going to get juiced so we can have them through the winter. Maybe we can go a couple months without buying lemons and limes. That would be nice. Or like small bag for whatever we need a couple fresh lemons and limes for. This is something that I was excited about. I have not seen 10 pounds of jalapeno peppers at Azure for quite some time. So I ordered the 10 pounds of jalapeno peppers and they're beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. But when I was looking at them, the inventory was looking strange and I wasn't really sure if they were gonna actually ship or not. So just to be safe, I also ordered our 6 pounds of jalapenos. They come 1 pound in this clamshell here. So we've got 6 of these and we've got the 10 pounds. So 16 pounds of jalapenos. What on earth are we gonna do with them? Number one, we're gonna make some pickled jalapenos and can them this time. We've been just keeping them in the refrigerator. This time they're gonna get canned so they're shelf stable. Number two, we're gonna do another batch of cowboy candy because it's delicious and everybody loves it. And all of you viewers have been so kind to tell us all the different things that we can do with the juice afterwards. So there's tons of uses for that. And then if I have the energy, we're going to also try doing some jalapeno jelly. Next to the jalapenos, we have our oils. So we have 2 gallons of avocado oil. We have 2 gallons of olive oil. It's been brought to my attention that the olive oil looks like avocado oil and the avocado oil looks like olive oil by my daughter. I'm so happy we have labeling on our jars now because we used to just go by the color, which would not work. We also have a gallon of coconut oil. We were running low and to be honest, some of it had expired like a ways back. I mentioned those chocolate pumpkin balls that we're making. Those have coconut oil in them. I'm also thinking about going back to doing some oil pulling. Kevin should do some oil pulling too. He used to do it like very regularly. But you stopped. Why did you stop? You're hiding your face behind the camera. Okay, so with the avocado oil, we use that for sauteing when we're cooking, greasing a baking dish, and sometimes we'll use it for mayo or salad dressing. I personally prefer using the olive oil. It's a little bit less expensive, and one of the benefits of the avocado oil is that its smoking temp is higher. And so avocado oil for cooking.
Zazu!
Avocado oil for cooking, olive oil for more of like the cold mayo making and salad dressings. We also have salsa. Got this in the case, so there's 12 of these. The Sweet Creek salsa is delicious. I had it on my list to make some homemade salsa this month, and I'm thinking I want to prioritize the jalapeno jelly as opposed to the salsa. What do you think, babe? Yeah? I don't know. I feel like salsa really needs to be done when tomatoes are fresh and in season, and
Along with peaches
yeah,
and mango and habaneros.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
There's
also
no mangoes.
there's no mangoes. Do you know why?
No. Do tell.
We'll get there. We also have 3 jars of anise extract. We've got a really good stack of almond extract. We've got a really good stack of hazelnut extract. We're making vanilla and have a decent stack of that. And we're actually going to be making some almond extract in one of these upcoming videos. But anise extract is something that we need for Christmas cookies. So I wanted to make sure that we did not run out of this and have to go get the McCormick's brand from the grocery store. So we also have 2 electrolytes. I totally forgot to order this last time, and I probably should be ordering 4 boxes because I'm going through 2 of these a day, 2 packs, not 2 boxes. Just trying to stay hydrated with and I'm not going to go into the details of the cherry lime saga. Okay, so right here we have a bag of grapes, and it's shrinking. It's a shrinking bag of grapes that barely has any grapes left in it because someone behind the camera...
He thinks it's funny. He thinks that this is hilarious.
Because someone behind the camera has an addiction to grapes, and he cannot stop eating them. Now, when I looked at them, like, I don't think they look great. I mean,
they're amazing.
But I tried one. Harbor's like, oh Mom, you gotta try them. They
that was
are
the problem.
hard
Here,
and
nobody knows
crispy, and they are delicious.
Check this out. Listen, y'all.
The only problem that I have is that there should... The only problem that I have is that I should have gotten more. And then we have Kevin's second passion are the kiwi. And these usually come in a clamshell as well. They might have been out. But again, I don't
like
mind.
the bag. Yeah, I'm digging the bag.
As long as they're not going to like get gross and funky because they're inside of a bag, I like Azure, I like the bag. Until it becomes a problem. These, we enjoy them for a couple weeks and then we don't have any and it's okay. Usually those are just used as a breakfast fruit, and sometimes it gets thrown in with a different meal like lunch. Back here we also have the Portlandia Worcestershire sauce. I believe that this was on sale. I have not gone in and gotten the whole case yet. I probably should have, but I want to show you something. I think this is so cool. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, and we have 6. So we got 6 bottles of Worcestershire sauce. Every single one of them has a different picture on the label. And that's something, it's so silly, but it's fun. I think that it's so fun. And the fact that they actually make a point to make sure that we get a variety with our order is awesome. Okay, so we're reaching the end of the Azure haul part of this mega grocery haul, and I wanted to take a second and mention our giveaway for the month of November. This month, we have a variety of items. We have a number of sample flours. Now, we do our best to bake only with whole grains that we grind fresh, but I understand that not everyone out there has a grain mill, so we decided to go with flours instead of the whole grains. So we have a barley flour, we have a spelt flour, we have a sorghum flour, we have an einkorn flour, and we have a dark rye flour. And the one thing that all of these flours have in common is that they are all ancient grains. They are all covered in this ancient grains cookbook. We've had this for a number of months now. Love being able to use it. It's got so much information. The first half of the book is all just information about grains and what the difference is between them. And then as you get to the second half, it is full of recipes. Now, with this is also going to come our November recipe pack, and by the time that this comes out and we're ready to give it away, we usually add in a few extra things as well. If you want to enter to win this, you're gonna have 2 chances. We're not gonna spread it across 6 videos this time. It's just gonna be 2 chances. So right here in the grocery haul, and then in the next video on how we stored it, where we talk about how on earth we put all of this food away, what we freeze, what we bag in Mylar bags, what we process in one way or another. We're gonna tell you how to enter in that a second time. So to enter in this video, I want you to go down into the comments and let us know what is one thing that Azure does not sell that you wish they did. There's a few things that I've come up with that I think to myself, I really wish Azure had that, and I'm sure that there are some for you as well. So I'd love to know, what do you wish Azure sold? Tell us in the comments and that will enter you in the giveaway. Okay, so next for the Azure haul is this Azure Clean Sweet Zephyr. I don't know exactly why that, but it's the liquid laundry detergent. This is a fragrance-free. We've got 2 of them. It was on sale, I believe, a couple months ago. I added it to the cart, and we haven't gotten it the last few months because I think one time it was out of stock, and then the second time I removed it for some reason or another. But we are out of our Azure laundry detergent, so I think we're gonna be happy to have this back. Next is the fun one.
Ooh.
So Kevin asked why I did not get mangoes this time. So I mentioned over there that you had to go watch the other video to find out what the best way is to buy mangoes, but I'm gonna kind of give it away right now because what we learned is that buying dried mangoes from Azure is by far the cheapest way to get dried mangoes. We're wasting time and energy by buying the fresh mangoes and dehydrating them ourselves. Doing the frozen mangoes is still more expensive. Actually, unless you're buying them in large quantities, it's still more expensive than buying the fresh organic mangoes. Now, there's 2 different types of dried mangoes at Azure. There's these, which are non-GMO dried mangoes. These are not organic, and they do have a sugar coating on them. I have some children that only like these. There's some that do. What was that? Hank just took off.
Pumpkin just literally
There's deer.
Oh, there are
off
deer.
my stomach.
Which one is he going to? He's going for that one.
Oh.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, there's baby deer.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of deer. Where did Hank go?
He went off into the trees.
Oh my goodness, they keep coming.
Yep, and there's Myrta over there, and this deer's confused. It's like Myrta's chasing. Myrta's chasing. Oh, look at Asher.
I think it's the triplets.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Asher got close.
Yeah.
So the organic mangoes are cheaper and they're sugar-free, which I personally prefer. But I'm gonna admit, these are delicious. They do have that sugar coating. They're really good. So, and they're even way cheaper than the organic ones. So as a special treat for the kids, for the Christmas season, I decided to get them this 5-pound bag of the non-organic dried mangoes. Next, we have the dried cranberries. Some of the recipes that we are doing this season, you can do dried cranberries or just the fresh cranberries. I think we're gonna do some experimenting with both because I bet that with the cranberry baked oatmeal, I have some kids that don't necessarily love the fresh cranberries in there that would probably gobble it up if it had these instead. These are apple juice sweetened, and again, we've got the 5-pound bag. What we'll do, we'll show you in the next video, is store these in a 1/2-gallon mason jar and then freeze the rest. We also have this little tiny bag of dried blueberries. I have never tried these. This is something that a viewer mentioned was their very favorite item from Azure. I said, I think I have to try them. These are also apple juice infused, just like the dried cranberries, and they're tiny. Like, look at that. It's such a tiny little thing. I don't think I can even eat one at a time. I think I need to grab like a little
thing.
pinch. I've been waiting for you to do this. So, they're really good, but I've got one thing that's working against them in my book. There's a stickiness to them
Mom, there's a stickiness to everything.
There's a stickiness to all dried fruit, but the thing is that these are small enough that it almost makes the stickiness more burdensome than the other. They're really good, but like I wouldn't put them in a salad. They're too small.
Way too small.
I'll eat them with a spoon. So,
a good idea.
I don't know. I'm gonna need to experiment. What would you do? Because other than, like, I wouldn't eat them by hand. It's just too much stickiness.
Yogurt?
That's what I'm thinking, is that maybe like yogurt and granola, that would be good. Maybe even in a oatmeal dish sprinkled on top. So let me know what you use the dried blueberries for, how you use them. And if it's just with your fingers, then I might not be sold. Okay, so this is the 5-pound bag of cherries that we got last time. And I was amazed at how big they are. I mean, they almost look like
Tiny prunes.
tiny prunes, yes. They're huge. And they're delicious. So,
good.
do we have some of these that are open still?
Yes.
Okay, well you go grab that because I don't want to open it. You know what? We're going to store it. Never mind. Okay, so these are listed. They don't even say dried. I believe they say cherries, bing. Oh, you're right. It's. I hate it when they do that.
Me too. They do it with all the herbs.
Okay, so they're listed as cherries, bing. And
Bing
yes,
cherries.
these are definitely sticky, but they're also big. So I can touch them lightly. Oh, they're so good. Now, these are not sweetened.
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
Oh, wait, no, they're not.
I don't think they are. I think they're just whole cherries dried. Now, they also have dried tart cherries. Well, zoom in on that. That little part right there where it says sweetened, and it does not specifically say apple juice sweetened. What that means is that they have sugar in them. So,
Stinks.
they're probably going to be delicious.
That's how
We're not going to find out today. You're going to come back to the next video. Good night.
We're going to open them up and do a little taste comparison between the two. Because these are going to be more like,
Oh, yes. They didn't put it inside a plastic.
these are like what dried cherries are in my book. This is what I remember dried cherries being. So here, let's check out the difference. So this is the Bing cherry that's dried. And then this is the sweetened tart cherry. This is what a traditional dried cherry tastes like to me. This, like every dried cherry that we've bought from anywhere else tastes like this. This is really good for a sweetened cherry. But the natural unsweetenness of this, I'm gonna say I prefer. And they're pretty close in price. They're both like in the $50 range for the 5 pounds each. Wanna try that? I want that one. What do you think?
So here's something very strange. I feel like that guy has a smokiness to it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a good smokiness or a bad smokiness?
I'm going to say a good.
Smoky.
It's got a smoky flavor to it. And these are not that sweet. I can actually handle those.
But you like dried cherries, don't you?
Yeah.
As a general rule.
In general.
So,
I mean, I'm not going to go and like, nom nom.
so I've also really enjoyed having the larger cherries in our salad. They're easier to stick your fork in. So I'm going to be honest and say that I'll probably continue to order these.
These aren't sticky.
It's because they're coated with an oil to help them not stick together. And you're going to eat more grapes. I think they're both delicious, but
All right.
weighing yeah. I want to take a second to hijack the grocery haul and mention a Christmas cactus, because we have a Christmas cactus right here and it is going to bloom and I'm really excited about it. And I'm curious, for anyone out there who has Christmas cactuses, do you do anything special to make it bloom? Because actually this is the first year. My Easter cactus did not rebloom, and from what I understand, it's complicated to get it to do so. But this guy has little buds coming in on it, and so I'm excited.
And Shira's not pregnant. Shira has lots of plant energy. But right now she's on plant. Look at that. There's more.
I know, there's little guys coming.
I'm trying to get the zoom focus on it.
It's my understanding that it takes like a cold room and lots of dark hours during the day. And I haven't done anything, and it actually sits in a south-facing window. So I'm kind of shocked that it's blooming.
South-facing. That's west.
Okay, so way up there, we have carrots. We normally get carrots because the kids just eat them as a snack. Just munch them down. But this month, they're going to also go into our beef stew, our chicken noodle soup, the tomato soup, as well as the butternut squash breakfast hash. Kids are gonna have to have a few less carrots as a snack this month. Way back there, we have some 5-gallon buckets. We actually got the case of 10 5-gallon buckets because it is way cheaper to get 10 than it is to get 1. And then we've got a few extra gamma lids. Right now, we're kind of still gradually working on our food supply room. I didn't want to order all 10 gamma lids because you cannot order them color specific, and I need specific colors. So I technically need the red, not as much as I need like green and yellow. But for now, I am gonna settle with just using the buckets, filling the buckets, throwing our bucket inventory labels on them, and then getting them on the shelf where they belong and getting the right color gamma lid to go on them eventually. Okay, so that's it for the Azure haul. We still have one more part coming up with the Natural Grocers haul, but I did want to mention there's a few things that are not included in this that we eat in a month. Number one, you'll notice there's no real meat. There's some meat that's coming up, and there's the bacon. But we purchased a whole hog that we got last month, and then we purchased a whole beef that is going to be coming in later this month. So that covers a lot of our protein needs. We also do have a food supply room down where we rotate a lot of that purchasing on an annual basis. So for example, the grains, we talk a lot about the breads that we're making and whatnot. You'll notice there's no grain here. December is our month to stock up on grains. So that's coming next month, but for now we've got a really good stash down there, so it's going to be more of like a slow, like a gradual restock, resupply, as opposed to buying that full year's worth. And then lastly, we also get a raw milk share that we pick up once a week. We get 4 gallons and go through that on a regular basis. We use it for drinking, we use it to make ice cream, we use it sometimes to make yogurt. I've fallen out of that practice. And we pull the cream for tea and to make other things. And then yes, we also use it to make lots of smoothies. Okay, so for the Azure haul in itself, including the shipping, was $2,229.53. So it's kind of disappointed. We're missing about $500 worth of our original order, specifically the apples. I was really bummed about the apples and the onions. Can I mention the onions anymore? Along with some navy beans and a few other items that were not in stock. Okay, starting off our Natural Grocers haul, we have some hard shell tortillas. You know, my family used to have these when I was a kid, and I thought they were so disgusting. I would never eat them, and I would always request a soft shell tortilla. And I got over it. I think that having these every once in a while is fun. The ones that we get from Natural Grocers are organic, so you don't have to worry about the GMO in the corn. We've tried these before a number of times. These are good. Now, they only had 3 of them, so we're actually supposed to get 6 of those, but instead, we're going to try the Garden of Eden regular yellow corn taco shells, as well as the blue corn taco shells. So when we do our hard shell taco bar, we're going to kind of do a taste comparison between these, see what the kids like, and then I will buy those going forward. We also have 2 small packs of Swiss cheese. I mentioned we're going to be having that caramelized onion grilled cheese sandwiches. And although not all of our kids love Swiss cheese, I wanted to make sure to get the full adult grilled cheese taste going with the Swiss. What are you doing, Kevin? Did it die? The gimbal died? So I just wanted to make sure that for us, we had the Swiss cheese so that we can have a little more adult version of the grilled cheese sandwich. I'll probably have like half and half, 1 Swiss and 1 cheddar, because I love cheddar in my grilled cheese as well. We also have 2 bags of couscous. We make the Hungarian kebabs, and they go with a side of couscous, technically on top of couscous. And the sauce that is with those Hungarian kebabs over the couscous is absolutely delicious. So it's not something that we have often. There's a few other dishes that we do use that utilize couscous. I'm going to give you a hint. This is something that I wish Azure sold. They do have a barley couscous, which I've never tried, but it was not in stock, so we couldn't even try it. So one of these days, but I do know that the refined couscous, probably not as great for you, is delicious, and we all love it. Next, we have 12 whole chickens. We're going to use this for things like the cranberry, rosemary, roasted chicken. We're going to use them for the chicken noodle soup. We do just roasted chicken as a general rule at least once a week, if not twice. And then we also cut them up for any other type of chicken that we're having. So for example, for the apple spiced pecan chicken, that we mainly use the breast. So Kevin will chop up the chicken, take off the breasts, and then save the legs and the wings along with everything else to make bone broth, but he'll cook those up and use them for food for him.
La.
We also have 2 different types of apples. I think these are the biggest Fuji apples that I've ever seen in my life, and some Granny Smith. The Granny Smith are specifically for the apple kuchen. If you don't know what an apple kuchen is, come back to that video. It's pretty amazing. It's not an apple pie. It's not an apple tart. It's an apple kuchen. And I actually have a recipe that I use, and my mom has a different recipe that is a family recipe, so we'll probably throw in that second recipe at some point in time in the future as well. These are also going to go for that big apple pancake, as well as the cranberry baked oatmeal, the breakfast hash, and something else, the spiced apple pecan chicken. We also have a few extra delicata squash. I was concerned that what we got wasn't going to be enough. Next, we have 4 leeks. Leeks are not something that I buy on a regular basis, but for the cabbage and leek dish specifically, you need to have leeks. Back here, we have 4 packs of, no, not packs, bunches, 4 bunches of collard greens. Asher uses these to feed his tortoises, and we also make a collard green and bacon dish that is amazingly delicious. We also have a handful of heads of red and green lettuce, leaf lettuce, as well as 8 heads of romaine. The romaine look good. The heads of leaf lettuce look questionable. So we also have some parsley. The fresh parsley is mainly for the chicken noodle soup. We also have 6 heads of cabbage. So we got 6 heads of cabbage from Natural Grocers. Now granted, some of these are huge. Like this guy's huge, that guy's, these are all decent size. This one's pretty small for the rest of them. And we're going to use these mainly to make some of the more of that spicy sauerkraut that I was mentioning. but we're also going to be doing a couple more slaws that we want to make sure that we have cabbage for. Oh, and the cabbage and leeks. Those require the cabbage as well. The funny part is that after I ordered this, we realized that these 6 heads of cabbage are about half the cost of the 40-pound box of cabbage. And I said, next time I'm just ordering the darn cabbage. Lastly, I have just 1 tub of yogurt. Since I have not been making it, we are not really eating it a lot because it's expensive to buy yogurt to feed everybody, but it's mainly meant to be a carrier for the tart cherry juice. I previously mentioned that I was eating pistachios to try and up my melatonin. Well, the tart cherry juice also helps, and when you mix it with a little bit of yogurt, it kind of levels out the sugar that you're consuming. I take this, try to take it a little bit around 4 p.m. and then a little bit more around 8 just before bed, and it really helps to increase your melatonin so that if you have troubles falling asleep or waking up and not being able to go back to sleep, it does wonders. Okay, so that's it for the Natural Grocers haul. Not a lot, but it is where we end up getting a lot of our fresh produce, like the lettuce usually. The total for Natural Grocers was $353.90. And so that brings us to a grand total for the entire mega grocery haul of, I don't know how much, comes to a grand total of $34.37. So unfortunately, as I mentioned, we have a lot of other sources for our meats and milk and such, so $34.37 does not even come close to covering our full monthly grocery budget. But we have spent the last 10, 15 years really prioritizing the food that we eat. As you see, most of it is higher quality food. It is more expensive. We made it a priority to eat well as opposed to do things like take vacations and buy new cars and all of that kind of stuff. And it's something that we've gone into slowly. It wasn't something that we just did overnight and decided that we were going to take a $800 a month grocery budget and explode it. It's something that's happened over time, and so it's just the way that it is in our house. We're used to it, and hopefully our kids will thank us for it because they're going to have good eating habits and they're going to be healthy, and praying to God that they don't have to deal with some of the health problems that come from eating
Other food.
Holy mackerel. Shira, that was like the Mount Kilimanjaro of grocery hauls.
You know, Harbor was making fun of me because I was going to call it a mega monthly grocery haul, and I'm like, this deserves the word mega.
Mega.
And I told her she should do mega massive, or major mega massive monthly grocery haul.
Yeah, no.
Well, you
I don't
did-
like to over exaggerate things.
No, this, that's, yeah. There's not even everything up here.
I know.
And it's crazy.
So
Thanks for joining.
we look forward to seeing you in our next video where we put all of this stuff away and show you how we store it.